You look at the draft lottery, it has not been kind to the Cavs, and you could argue that's kind of how they got into this situation. And nobody in the NBA is feeling sorry for him based on how the ping pong balls bounced with LeBron and Kyrie and even Bennett for that matter. But you look at 2018, 8th pick Collin Sexton. There's nobody that went after him that makes that a mistake pick by any stretch of the imagination. Sexton's probably not a 1 or a 2, but he's a pretty good NBA player.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the way that you have to look at it. If you're going to try and evaluate this front office fairly, Dave, it's just that. With a recognition that they haven't had lottery luck, with a recognition that they haven't passed on some of those quote-unquote stars that could have accelerated this rebuild, I think given where they have drafted, they have done the best that they could do. Some people might argue Michael Porter Jr. ignoring the fact that he was coming off back surgery. There were questions about his longevity in the NBA, his work ethic, whether or not he was an alpha, all those different kinds of things. And some people might also say Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, ignoring the fact that 1, he didn't want to play here, 2, he wasn't willing to work out here, and 3, Collin Sexton statistically has been better than Shai. The only difference between the two is size. Shai's 6'6", Collin's 6'1". But given where they were drafting, they got it right. He's 22nd in the NBA in scoring this year. His numbers in year 3 are comparable to Jamal Murray of the Denver Nuggets and Donovan Mitchell of the Utah Jazz at the same stage of their career. And then you can go down and do the same thing when it comes to Darius Garland. Sure, Dave, at one point last year, we were talking about Darius as a potential draft bust. What the heck were the Cavs thinking, taking him 5th overall? He's statistically the worst player in the NBA. And here he is in year 2, made huge strides. And now we can look at him and honestly say that through 2 years, he's been one of the best players from the 2019 draft class. So with them picking him at 5, who else after him would you rather have? Rui Hachimura, Tyler Hero, Matisse Thybulle, Cam Reddish, Jarrett Culver? There isn't that guy that you can look at and say, well, because the Cavs took Darius instead of X player, it was a big whiff. It would be one thing, Dave, if we were sitting here today talking about Kevin Knox instead of Collin Sexton and Cam Reddish instead of Darius Garland. But we're not. We're talking about a general manager who, to this point, wherever the Cavs were picking, I think you can make an argument, made the most of those picks, or if you want to go further, hit on those picks. So what are we even talking about his future in this organization for? Why are we even saying that he's not safe?
Yeah, I would agree. And you can say the same thing about Isaac Okoro thus far. I mean, would you like him to have more offense? Absolutely. Showed flashes of it late in the year. An athletic guy that's a willing defender. Again, you're picking 5th. There's nobody behind him that you go, boy, that guy's a can't-miss superstar.
Right. They didn't pass on LaMelo Ball or Anthony Edwards for Isaac Okoro. They took Isaac at 5th. And part of the reason why they took him was because they recognized, hey, look, we have a tiny backcourt. It's Darius Garland, it's Collin Sexton. There are limitations to what they can be defensively. We have seen that now. How do we address that? Sure, part of it is Darius becoming a better defender and Collin becoming a better defender. But the other thing is you've got to put the pieces around those guys so that they can be in a position to not be exploited on the defensive end of the floor. And because they're liabilities on their own, let's try and help them out. So let's go out and get the best pure wing defender in this year's class in Isaac Okoro. And he took the challenges throughout the course of this season, Dave, that very few rookies are going to take. You know, did Anthony Edwards guard LeBron James one night, then Kawhi Leonard the next night, then Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and Russell Westbrook, and the list goes on and on and on. Very few rookies were asked to do what the Cavs asked of Isaac. And that was part of their developmental plan for him. They wanted to throw him to the wolves, so to speak, and see if he could handle it and see what he was going to learn and see if he could be better for it. That's why it was always so hard for me to criticize Okoro throughout the course of his rookie season. Number one, he was really, really young, coming into the season. He didn't have summer league. He didn't have a full off season. And he was asked to do things that you don't normally ask of rookies. And he had some failures and he had some successes. And I think that's what you expect from the 5th overall pick in this type of season.